All right, there you go. That's the news, which means we can get on to the comic books of the week, and we are going to, in fact, start with DCeased issue 5. Tom Taylor writing with Trevor Hairsine on the art. And Matt, did you go through a lot of tissues at the end of this issue?
Oh, big time. I was super bummed out.
I expected as much.
Yeah.
I read it right before we left to go to the hockey game, which that was a mistake. But yeah, hooey. Didn't expect it to go this way.
This is pretty fantastic.
This opens with the aftermath of the bombs going off at the end of issue 4. We find that the Green Lantern in this case being Black Canary or Green Canary or you know what I mean.
I think we settled on Green Canary.
Yeah, Green Canary.
Yeah.
She shields everyone in the Daily Planet with a bubble, but the city's been devastated, and Lex Luthor shows up, and he says, "Look what happened to our city." He says "our," which
he's broken. He's completely devastated by this. He drops to his knees and is like, "I didn't want this to happen."
Yeah, he's actually like honestly looking for Superman's help, maybe for the first time ever.
Well, because the way that he's introed, it looks like he's pointing and yelling at him, like almost he's gonna blame Superman. And then Superman comes over and does the cool red eye thing, and then he goes, "Truce, I'm not here to fight." And then he drops to his knees and says, "Look what happened to our city." And I'm like, "Oh man."
This is my favorite portrayal of Luthor, where it's he's evil in a sense as he wants to beat Superman and all those sort of plans, but he doesn't want to reduce the Earth to dust. That's not his interest. He wants to be the savior of mankind.
Well, so you're saying you don't like the version in Smallville where we flash forward to his future and he's president and he's launching 100 nukes to murder the entire planet?
I'm okay with the president and him launching nukes against another state because that seems like what Luthor could do. It's only the where he'll let them hit America that I find it hard to grasp as.
And they definitely were, because it was stock footage. It was stock footage from Terminator 3, and that's exactly what they were doing in that movie. So.
Look, I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying I can buy President Luthor. I'm okay with, because again that tracks with it. Him launching nukes against another country, again I can still buy that from Luthor, because as long as his people, as he sees it, are okay. That kind of tracks with what I'd expect from him.
Yeah. So the team at this point start talking about where to keep people, the survivors. They destroy the internet so it can't spread, at least through technology. It can still spread through people, of course, the old-fashioned zombie way. But they take out satellites and cables in the ocean and flashes, speed forcing through server rooms and all sorts. And they make a couple of safe havens. They basically lift some ocean bed, Superman and Wonder Woman and Mira, to make a new island. Plus Diana asks for Themyscira to open its doors essentially to people.
Yeah,
they don't make an entirely new island. They just add on to Themyscira to make it bigger.
Yeah, they pull it up from the seafloor.
Yeah,
to make Themyscira bigger.
They make it an annex, so it's like a separate little side to it. But they also want to use Gotham, which is turned into like a forest. It's a jungle. It's been created overnight, obviously from Poison Ivy. And Damien's wearing his bat suit, and he's very small. He's like a Batman who's 5 foot tall. It's kind of
it is amusing because you've got Dinah and Ollie stood there next to him, just and he's up to their shoulders.
Yeah, no, it's neat.
Why are you here? Why is a Robin dressed as a tiny Batman?
Oh dear. And Harley's like, "Come on, Ivy, be nice. Let people in."
We talked about this. You can be a benevolent jungle queen.
And Ivy's like, "There'll be rules. If anyone damages the plants."
I love that when she's like, "There'll be rules." Harley's so excited. She's like, "Yes, got it."
Yeah, and obviously they're using the fortress as well, as it makes sense. Notably, the old Daily Planet globe is half destroyed, but it's sitting outside. Obviously, they've used that as a transportation method with the Green Lantern ring or whatever, which is a nice touch. I also like that Luthor's like, Cyborg, you're quite smart and useful. Why have we never worked together? Because you always try to kill me and my friends.
Sure, but in my defense, that was before I realized you could be useful.
Oh dear. But yeah, so they're looking at arcs because Earth's not safe anymore. Although Superman's insisting that they should stay and they should fight for the planet.
Yeah, which is on brand for him.
Mm.
He's not
It is.
losing another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Lex here again. He's like, and as the most intelligent person on the planet, and he's like, wait a second, Batman's dead,
Batman
right?
did.
Yeah, right. Then I am the most intelligent person on the planet.
Yeah, and of course he then starts rubbing in that Clark's had 2 dead worlds, and Lois clocks him in the face, which is very cathartic, of course, very enjoyable. The best part of it, though, is Lois noticing John watching, saying, "Oh, violence never solves anything, John. It's never the answer." It's like, it looked pretty good answer to that just then.
Taylor's so on point in this issue with the emotion, because there's so much emotional tension with this. They're building a new society, and they've lost so many people, and then you get these fun moments like Batman. I'm the smartest, and here with violence is never the answer.
Except then.
Yeah, then, right now. But yeah. And everything's going a little bit too well, because they get to mourn all the people, that they've lost, and they're relocating to the Gotham jungle and to Mascara, and they're building the arcs, and we get Barry and Dinah and Ollie all mourning Hal, which is nice, because I feel sometimes you don't get those types of moments in a
usually
story
not
like
time
this.
in these stories.
Yeah.
But this took a moment. I mean, it's not a huge moment. It's one panel, but it's enough.
Exactly.
But then infected John Jones shows up and is absolutely devastating, and first of all, completely kills Lex. Lex gets split in half from John Jones, and then he infects Barry, and it's like, shit, Barry just got infected. And it's actually Firestorm who beats John with his
Makes
powers.
sense.
But it's like, holy shit, Barry's infected and he just sped off at super speed. So Superman's like, no, Wally, we can't risk losing you. I'll go deal with Barry. And his whole plan is he can't catch up with them. And Barry's running around at super speed infecting civilians. Like, he's just like, it's the worst possible thing. So Superman flies, into space, goes around the other side of the planet, and he's like, no, my plan is to just sort of fly into him head on. And I love the touch here where he's like, right, Cyborg, just let me know Flash is dead. He's like, he's like, promise me. Like, he is like, make sure he's already dead. You promise me that he is already dead before I do this. And he basically flies through him at super speed. And it actually made me think of The Boys.
Me too. Yeah,
the opening stuff from The Boys. But of course, so this is already dark as shit. Superman doing this is already like a really weird and like violent like scene.
But he's got no choice. He's saving however much life is left on the planet. I don't want to put a number on that, because it don't feel like there's enough to say millions. I don't know. But
some of Barry's bones penetrate Clark's stomach. And I feel like we could argue about like should this be possible. It's Speed Force, bro. Just go.
I'm going to say there's no. It's not a physical penetration. It's the the vibration. He phases through him as he splatters, and they get stuck inside.
Sure. That's fair. So Superman, because he's Superman, is able to fight off the infection for a small time just to say goodbye and explain what's happening to him. And he actually uses Wallace to sort of get Lois, John, and Mac-Hen into Speed Force time, so that he's got enough time to say goodbye. And he's like, thank you for choosing me. I found you across the stars. All this romantic stuff, hugging John and like all the stuff you'd expect from this type of goodbye. And the final page of the book is Superman flying as far away from Earth as he can before it overtakes him, and it just this is where we find out who's narrating the whole time, because the narration refers to him as my husband. So we find out Lois has been the narrator the entire time, and Clark in space, and he's still sort of in the vicinity. I think he's next to the moon actually. By the looks of it. Yeah.
He's not far enough away.
Yeah, he's not far enough away.
Is that still the Earth?
It could still
be
the Earth.
Say with the color, because everything's tinged red with the blast.
But he just starts blasting heat vision in space, and it's like, if he's not far enough away and he comes back to Earth, like, they are screwed.
I mean, here's the thing: does kryptonite still work on a
undead
zombie
undead Clark?
Anti-life Superman?
Maybe, but it still has the same problem that they had with Barry of the the speedster infection, because he can move not that fast, but plenty fast.
But the fact that he goes into straight into heat vision, you know what I mean? Like,
It's destructive because it's immediately like a time bomb.
Yeah.
That's him gone.
Yep.
So yeah, Superman has been infected and is now the most dangerous.
This did not make me feel good.
Yeah, he's the most dangerous entity on the planet, or slightly off planet.
Around the planet.
Yeah, no, that's hit hard. I think all the stuff it was doing before then with explaining how they're trying to like save whoever's left was working well, and then you get to this last half of the book where it's Flash has been infected, Superman has to deal with it, and then he gets infected himself. All that stuff was just emotionally gut punching.
Oh,
so it's like
incredible.
Yeah, I felt like, oh, okay, we'll have an epilogue issue, after this about how society reformed, and Taylor goes, oh, that's cute.
I mean, I will say I do kind of wish the book had a better artist, but like, the story's solid.
I'm really big fan of this art for this personally.
It's
actually been growing on me more and more.
Yeah, this issue it hit a lot of the emotional moments.
Hair signs like faces and stuff just don't really work for me. All of these like characters are really lanky. They feel a bit skinny. I don't know. It's just a constant thing that's been through all of these issues.
The lanky thing I get, it stopped bothering me for whatever reason. I used to notice it a lot in the first couple of issues. Now it's just there, not really even thinking about it anymore. The faces I disagree with. I think it's nailing a lot of the faces, especially in this issue with the expressions and points.
Yep.
Like Superman's face when he's flying through Barry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
pain.
Yeah.
It's emotional pain.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was just those conversations, like even though I really like the dialogue when, after Lois punches Lex, Lois's face as she's talking to the kids there, doesn't really work for me. It just feels a bit off. And there's a lot of faces like that in this issue and in Hair Sign's other issues of this series. I just don't like how he draws faces or people, and people are kind of an important part of drawing comics. So. But no, it's a solid issue. It has a lot of big emotional beats, and the ending's fantastic. So, Matt, what are you giving DCeased number 5?
I'm gonna give this one a 9. It's really good. It's literally an emotional roller coaster.
All right, Connor.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with a 9.
I'm gonna go with an 8, just because of the art. That's where it loses its point for me.